Call to order the June 2026 meeting of the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals. Madam Clerk, if you would call the roll.
Mr. Brown?
Present.
Mr. Repass?
Present.
Mr. Bellitz? Mr. Williams? Mr. Anderson? Mr. Elliott?
Present.
Ms. Garrett?
Present.
Mr. Graves?
Present.
And Mr. Huff?
Present.
9 members present.
Thank you. If you would, please follow along on the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Members of the Board of Zoning Appeals are volunteers from each commission district who do not receive compensation for their work on the board or training they attend. As a quasi-judicial body, we avoid ex parte communication and conduct our business in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. My name is Paul Huff. I'm the chairman. To my right is Mr. Curtis Brown, the vice chairman, and to his right, Mr. Mike Moyers, our county law director representative. We have additional people here present from codes and engineering. Steve, if you would.
Yes, you have myself, Steve Elliott, Miranda Ward from Knox County Codes, and you have Mike Reynolds from Knox Planning.
Thank you. Our voting procedure requires a simple majority of board members present. Today there are 9 members present, so 5 votes, either yea or nay, will be required. Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals is authorized to grant variances and hear other matters by the Tennessee Code and the Knox County Zoning Ordinance, specifically 6.60 Board of Zoning Appeals. These laws prescribe strict parameters, the meeting of which is required to grant a variance. The burden of proof that an application meets these parameters rests on the applicant. Quoting from Knox County Code of Zoning Ordinances 6.60.04 variances, the purpose of a variance is to modify the strict application of the specific requirements of this ordinance in the case of exceptionally irregular, narrow, shallow, or steep lots, or other exceptional physical conditions whereby such strict application would result in practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship which would deprive an owner of the reasonable use of their land. The variance shall be used only where necessary to overcome some obstacle which is preventing an owner from using their property as the zoning ordinance intended. For each matter, the clerk will read the request into the record. The chair will then ask if the applicant is present. The chair will then ask if there is opposition or others speakers who wish to present. You do not have to come forward at this time. Once we determine the speakers for an item, we will call on governmental agencies such as Knox County Codes, Planning, or Engineering to make statements regarding the facts pertinent to the property and background of the request. Board members may ask questions of the governmental agencies once they have made their statements. The chair will then call on the applicant to come forward, state their name and address for the record, and present their evidence and reasoning supporting the granting of a variance. If there is no opposition, the applicant has 10 minutes to present their case. If there is opposition, the applicant and opposition each have up to 15 minutes. After the applicant's presentation, the board members may ask questions of the applicant. The chair will then call for opposition or other parties who have up to 15 minutes to speak. This 15 minutes applies to all parties, so if there are multiple parties that wish to speak, please determine how you're going to divide your time beforehand. After the opponents present their opposition, the board members may ask questions of the opponents. Finally, there will be a discussion of the case by the board, during which time board members may ask further questions of parties who have already testified. The board will then make any determination it deems necessary. Our bylaws allow an applicant at the initial hearing of the matter to request a deferral of 30 or 60 days without prejudice. In the event of a deferral of an application or failure to appear, any opponent may be heard on the record at a meeting where the application they oppose appears on the agenda. Mr. Law Director, would you please swear in those who will be testifying?
Well, each of you that will be testifying and presenting evidence to this board, please stand and raise your right hand. Do each of y'all swear or affirm the testimony and evidence you will give will be nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
We do have an agenda change. We have what was originally on our agenda for 4D. We would like to hear that item first for a variety of reasons, but it's out of courtesy to one of our commissioners. So are there any other changes that you know of, Steve?
That is the only change I'm aware of. I believe item number, which one's Miranda's going to?
4A.
Item 4A may have a change in their request, but they'll do that at the podium. They didn't send it to us in time to change the agenda.
Okay, so that takes care of any changes or corrections. Okay, so we read item 4D first. Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting?
Move to approve.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Now we'll hear 4D.
Item 4D is a request of Taylor D. Forrester, OBO, KC Management, GP, for variance of the Knox County Board of Zoning Appeals to appeal the determination of Section 3.51.08B of the Knox County zoning regulations by Knox County planning staff and Knox County Code Administration. The property is located at 0 Bexhill Drive, parcel ID 144LB00301. Property is zoned CN in the 4th Commission District.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition? Any statement from codes?
Yes, as discussed in the agenda lunch, section 3.51.08, subsection B that's up on the screen is a requirement for setbacks for parking lots when a non-residential zone adjoins a residential zone. My staff and myself have read this to mean that parking lots in the same block face of residential zoning would require to be set back 35 feet from the property line. Obviously, we debated it a lot among our staff, and therefore we're before you guys to determine if we've interpreted this section accurately or not.
Okay. If you would, please come state your name and address for the record.
Taylor Forrester, 1111 North Shore Drive, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37919. Here on behalf of the property owner, K&C Management, which is Karen and Chris Weatherall. This appeal, as Mr. Elliott indicated, is related to that interpretation of 3.5108 subsection B. The proposed development for this site is for a pediatric dentist facility, which is a use permitted by right under the neighborhood commercial zone. And so the issue is specifically the parking lot. I don't know if you can pull up this preliminary site plan that's located on the northern boundary adjacent to Bexhill Drive. So the CN zone requires a parking lot setback of 10 feet unless there is this section of the enhanced parking setback of 35 feet where you have a non-residential zone that is situated contiguous to and on the same block face as a residential zone property. So our property zoning is neighborhood commercial, therefore it would have to be contiguous to a residential-based zoning. So that section of the zoning ordinance that codes is asking you to interpret as to whether it applies or not, it imposes two independent conjunctive conditions. So it's not just on the same block face, it also has to be contiguous. And in my application, I attached an addendum and setting forth case law as to how they interpret what is contiguous. And essentially contiguous means right beside one another. So this property, the subject property at issue, it was originally part of a larger parcel that has been developed. It consists of a commercial development, has restaurants, retail type uses. So that went through a use on review approval in 2021. And I'm going to refer to that as the original parcel, which the subject property was a part of. For the subject property portion, it was proposed to be developed as a standalone restaurant. And again, restaurants are uses permitted on review. So they're not permitted by right, so you have to go to Planning Commission to have those approved. So that was approved, and there were 8 conditions attached to it. In 2022, the original developer of that site decided the subject property wasn't going to be developed as it was approved for as a restaurant by the Planning Commission. So the original owner, developer, subdivided that parcel off, which resulted in this 0.42 acres that we're planning or proposing to develop for a pediatric dental facility. As a result, the original parcel originally was contiguous to a residential zone property on the same block face. However, once they subdivided off the subject property, which is now at the corner of Ebenezer and Bex Hill, we now are contiguous to another commercial zone property, which was that original parcel that became the commercial development. So we have this now intervening, tract that we are contiguous to, which is commercial. That tract is contiguous to a residential zone property. So it's our position that with the code requiring the 2 independent conjunctive conditions, the first condition is not met, the contiguity factor. The 35 feet, we are now approximately 225 feet from that residential zone property, more than 6 times the 35-foot setback requirement. As such, we contend that when analyzing the ordinance as it is written and as it is to be applied with those 2 independent conjunctive conditions, that it is not applicable to the subject property. Again, back in 2021, yes, when it was all one parcel, but once you create an independent parcel through a subdivision process, it's recognized as an independent parcel, has its own tax ID. So it's my interpretation and our belief that section 3.5108 subsection B is not applicable to this site. As such, the proposed parking lot area on the preliminary site plan that's on the northern boundary along Bex Hill is only required to meet the 10-foot setback. We'd ask that you approve the appeal in finding section 3.5108 subsection B is not applicable. Have 2 more people here to speak. Heidi Adams.
Chairman and members of the board, my name is Heidi Adams, and I am a commercial real estate broker with NAI Collimore here in Knoxville. I represent Chris and Karen Weatherall, which is KNC Management, in their endeavors with regard to this particular parcel.
Can you give us your address too as well?
Yes, I'm sorry. 255 North Peters Road, Suite 100, Knoxville. While I understand that the appeal boils down to an interpretation of the code, which Taylor so eloquently addressed, I just wanted to bring some things to your attention that may further explain the journey that we've been on with this particular parcel. Early on, we carefully considered a variety of permitted commercial uses for this out parcel. As with many commercially zoned properties, higher traffic uses such as restaurants and drive-through concepts were viable options. Instead, Karen and Chris intentionally sought out a use that better serves the surrounding community while being more compatible with neighboring properties. We chose pediatric dentistry for a number of reasons. First, there is a demonstrated and ongoing need for pediatric healthcare services in Knox County. Families benefit from having access to quality dental care close to where they live, work, and attend school. A pediatric dental office is a community-serving use that provides an essential healthcare service for children and creates a destination that directly supports family wellness. Second, this use was selected with safety in mind. Compared to a restaurant or another high-traffic retail use, a pediatric dental practice generates substantially less traffic volume, fewer peak hour trips. It also reduces the frequency of vehicle turning movements, delivery traffic, and late evening activity. Patients arrive by appointment throughout the day, resulting in a more orderly and predictable traffic pattern that minimizes congestion and promotes safer access for motorists, pedestrians, neighboring businesses, and most importantly, the families that the practice will serve. Third, Chris and Karen were mindful of the effect that this development would have on adjacent commercial properties. A pediatric dental practice is a low-intensity commercial use that operates primarily during normal business hours with little or no evening or weekend activity, limited noise, and minimal operational impacts. It is a considerate neighbor that preserves the character and functionality of the surrounding commercial area rather than introducing a more invasive and intensive use that could create additional traffic noise and conflicts. The board should also understand that the proposed 3,100 square foot building is already very modest in size for a pediatric dental practice, particularly one that will offer deep sedation services. Pediatric dental practices require specialized treatment rooms, recovery areas, support spaces, and accommodations for parents and young patients that are not typically needed in a general office setting. Through careful design, the building footprint has been reduced to the smallest practical size that still allows the practice to operate safely and efficiently. Any further reduction in the building size would materially impair the dentist's ability to deliver care, maintain operational efficiency, and sustain a successful practice at this location. So in other words, the building is not oversized for the use, rather it represents a thoughtfully designed and minimally sufficient facility intended to meet an important healthcare need. In selecting this use and designing this facility, Karen and Chris deliberately chose a development that places community needs, public safety, and compatibility with surrounding properties ahead of maximizing profit by pursuing a more intensive use, such as a restaurant or a drive-through. We respectfully submit that the proposed pediatric dental practice and its carefully scaled building represent a thoughtful, responsible, and community-oriented use of this property. Thank you for your time.
Does anyone else wish to speak in favor of this?
Shane Jackson, 2233 Delta Way, Knoxville, Tennessee. Good afternoon. My name is Shane Jackson, and I serve as the Knox County Commissioner for the 4th District. And I'm here today to express my support for this appeal. It is the future home of Treehouse Pediatric Dentistry led by Dr. Carolyn Lambert. At its core, this case is about bringing an important healthcare service closer to the families who live in our community. Within just a few miles of this location, there are more than 1,500 children attending A.L. Lotz and Bluegrass Elementary. These families deserve convenient access to specialized pediatric dental care close to home. Dr. Lambert's practice will provide not only routine pediatric dentistry, but also treatment options for children who require sedation or specialized care and may otherwise struggle with the dental services that they receive. We don't have to speculate about whether this type of practice fits in well with a neighborhood setting. Just down the street in Westland Drive, Children's Dentistry of Knoxville has operated successfully for several years across the street from A.L. Lotz. It's become a valued community asset serving families. Treehouse Pediatric Dentistry represents this same kind of community-focused healthcare provider. This project is also an investment by a local family. Dr. Lambert and her husband live only 15 minutes away from this site. This is not a corporate chain or an absentee ownership group or a private equity group that owns it. This is going to be their home location, and they're making a long-term community impact and a commitment to the community. They will invest substantial personal resources, I assume, in designing this specialized pediatric dental facility, and they've already spent a considerable amount of time coming to bring this request forward. Healthcare providers like this do not move from location to location. They establish roots and build relationships with the family and their community. I would also like to note that the property owner directly across from Bexhill, from what I was told, was not opposed to this. The practical realities of pediatric dentistry are also important to consider. Unlike other office uses, pediatric dental practices require additional parking to function effectively. This is especially true when sedation services are offered. Every child receiving sedation must be accompanied by a parent or guardian who remains on site throughout the procedure and recovery period. Those vehicles occupy parking spaces longer than the typical office visit. In addition, sedation procedures require additional clinical personnel, resulting in a greater staff presence than a traditional dental office. As a result, pediatric dental practices routinely seek parking arrangements that exceed standard parking assumptions, and they also require certain square footage in order to meet the requirements of their business practices. This is a CN zone parcel, and a pediatric dentistry practice is permitted by right, and this is the exact kind of quiet, family-oriented neighborhood healthcare provider that we need in this community, in the Bexhill and Bluegrass community. I believe that I have met both with codes and planning and the developer, and I do agree that a 10-foot setback meets the code requirement, and that is what I would ask the board to consider and approve. In closing, I support this appeal because it represents a local family making a significant investment in our community and in the 4th District, and because it is a low impact and appropriate use of a CN zone property, and because the zoning ordinance supports the relief being requested. I want to disclose I have no direct or indirect financial investment or any kind of conflict of interest in this. I respectfully ask the board to approve this appeal, and I thank you very much for all of your service.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. I think you probably answered the question I was going to ask, and that was, could the owner do without the 8 parking spaces along Bexhill? And based on the testimony that Commissioner Jackson just gave, it sounds like no, because of the variety of reasons he outlined. I'll open it up to others on the board to ask questions.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, that's my district, and I've spent some time over there just kind of watching, in the parking lot, watching people come and go, and looking at the proposed plan, and my personal beliefs on it are I would approve this.
Anybody else want to comment?
I'll agree with the commissioner.
When I looked at this, when it came in the mail, I looked at the ordinance language, and it's pretty specific in my mind, but I did want to point out a couple things. And this is quoting from Section B, where the parking lot is located in a non-residential zone but is contiguous to a residential zone, which has common frontage on the same block with the parking lot. The key element of that, part of that sentence in my mind, is the subject of that sentence is the lot. Not the zone, but the lot. The lot is not contiguous to a residential zone. And for that reason, which I believe is what Mr. Forrester pointed out, it does not meet one of the two criteria for the zoning or the setback requirement of 35 feet. So for that reason, I believe it is a reasonable request to set the setback at 10 feet. Anybody else have any other discussions? Ashley, I'll leave it up to you to propose a vote or a motion.
I propose a vote for the approval of the determination by Knox County Planning staff. I take that back. I make a motion to vote to approve this case.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. I just want to add, we're voting to appeal the planning commission's or the staff's requirement.
Yes, you're voting to overturn
Yes.
the codes and planning staff's
That's correct.
recommendation.
10 feet.
That is correct. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
No.
We have 8 ayes and 1 no. Motion carries. Thank you all very much. Now back to 4B on the agenda.
4A.
I'm sorry, 4A, excuse me.
4A is a request of Reginald Bell for variance for waiver of periphery boundary from 35 feet to 15 feet and waiver of front yard setback from 20 feet to 16 feet. The property is located at 9315 Sway Branch Lane, parcel ID 144NG006. Property is zoned PR in the 4th Commission District.
Is the applicant for this present? Is there any opposition to this? Hearing none. Any statement from codes on this?
We don't have any at this time.
If you could please give us your name and address for the record.
Reginald Bell, 1348 Pale Moss Way, Knoxville, Tennessee.
And pursuant to code 6.60.04, what evidence do you have to present to support your application?
First of all, we were looking to amend that setback to 10 feet, as shown in the drawing above. It's an irregular lot, and the geometry creates a hardship. The curved frontage also reduces the practical building envelope. The request is the minimum relief necessary. Similar reliefs have been already approved in the same subdivision, and none of the neighboring lots will be impacted.
Which are you, you're wanting to do the peripheral boundary from 35 feet to 10 or the front yard setback from 20 feet?
Both.
Both to 10?
Yes, because the topography is not on there, but it backs up to a pretty steep hill there.
Miranda, can you pull up the topography?
The drawing that came in our package of information shows 15 feet in the rear and 16 feet 4 inches in the front.
Yeah, I submitted I submitted the second one here recently.
So is the house bigger?
No, the house isn't bigger, but
Okay.
at 15 in the back, it allows only 10 inches off of the setback line from the back of the house. And from the front, it only allows about 6 inches.
Miranda, can you zoom in on that? I'm still confused what the second red line indicates.
That's the setback.
Is that the required setback or what?
No,
you're-
that's the property line.
Yeah, the outer one is, the red on the outer is the property line, and then the inner one is the proposed setback.
Proposed setback. So usually when we have a setback reduction request, the setback is right at the building line. Why is there a gap between the building and what you're proposing for the setback?
Because it was initially proposed at the 15 feet, but upon further evaluation of the project, we noticed that it would be very tight to get this building on the lot with a 15 and 16, with a 15-10 peripheral and a 16 frontage.
I'm struggling to understand whether this drawing that we're looking at now actually represents what you plan to build. Does it?
Yes,
So why is the proposed setback not right up against the building in the back?
because it's going to make the building and the setback are going to be very tight. It's going to be a few inches between the building setback and the building itself.
That appears to be 4 or 5 feet. I don't have a measurement.
It's 4 or 5 feet now, but at the 15, it would only be a few inches. That's why we propose to move it up to the 10 feet instead of the 15.
Steve, I'm lost. I mean,
I think he's requesting more of a variance than you need. You actually should only request the minimum you need. So if you only need 14 feet, that's what your request should be. You shouldn't request 10 and then not build to it, right? Does that make sense?
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
asking.
that's
Why
what
are you
I
asking for more of a reduction than you actually need?
Because it kind of poses a problem where it'd be a pretty tight build.
Steve, help me out. I mean, if you were digging a footer for a building that in the bottom of the footer, the outside edge of the
It's
footer
gonna
actually
be
went over
3
the
feet.
setback line, but the building line itself did not, that
No,
would be
it won't be in
acceptable,
it.
would it not?
Yes, as long as the face of the building was not over the setback line, we would be okay with that.
Right, so you don't need the setback any further away from the property line than the building's face is going to sit. That includes the overhang or just the face?
Yeah, we measure to the wall. The the eaves can go into the setback.
Okay, so the wall of the building needs to be at the setback line.
Okay.
So I would, it's not my district, but I would suggest that maybe you take this back and figure out exactly where you need the setback line to be and come back with a request just for that.
We'll go ahead and go with the original 15 setback and 16 frontage, 15 peripheral and 16 frontage.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to what we have.
Yeah,
in the-
we'll go back,
in the package
yes.
that we got.
Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
because when I first presented it, I was under the impression that the 10-foot setback would be something that would be acceptable. But if it's not going to be acceptable, then we'll build with what we have.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add in a little bit. I've driven by this property 3 times in the past 2 weeks, actually in the past week. I have yet to see the variance sign posted in the yard. Do the neighbors know that this is happening?
From my understanding, it's something that's already happened in this subdivision.
There have been 2 properties to the right of this property that were granted variances. That it's my understanding now that when they dug the wall back behind it, they extended beyond that wall, and some settlement has happened, which is causing problems for the houses back behind it. Which is why I want the neighbors to know that this is coming down the road. Steve, you mentioned that signs are put out 2 weeks before.
Yes, and we have a photo. The sign was put out by our staff. We don't follow up and check that, but we did put the sign out with today's meeting date on it.
I would propose to postpone 30 days and have the sign in the yard the entire length that it's supposed to be.
Okay. And I would make a, first of all, is this a single-story structure?
Yes,
Slab on grade, I assume?
yes. slab
Okay.
on grade.
I would strongly suggest that you rotate that building slightly on that would be the southwest corner. Hold that corner where it is and rotate it slightly counterclockwise so that the northwest face is parallel to the property line on that side. That'll give you some relief on the setback around the curve on the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
It might. So take it back, get the sign back up, I guess, and come back in 30 days if you would.
Okay, that's fine. But I do have a question. If we are not removing the sign and the sign gets removed again, then will we do the same thing again? Because they said the sign was set. I saw the sign out there when they said it. So if it somehow mysteriously gets removed again, then will I come back for another 30-day?
I don't, well, I can't say for sure, but I would not vote for that, no.
Okay,
I would suggest if you see the sign missing, that you call codes and let them know that the sign is missing.
okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
They'll come out as often as they need to keep the sign up, I think.
Okay.
So make a motion, you've made a motion, or did you make a motion?
Yes.
You made a motion. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition? If you would come back in 30 days, maybe tweak the alignment of your house on the lot, to maximize the setbacks that you can get, and we'll talk about it again then.
Okay.
Okay?
Fair enough.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys have a great rest of your day.
4B.
4B is a request of Myron Ryan for waiver of lot intensity from 1 dwelling per acre to 0.75 acres. The property is located at 8049 Beach Top Way, parcel ID at 041-01303. Property is zoned agricultural in the H2 Mission District.
Is there any opposition to this? If you could, please state your name and address for the record.
I'm Myron Ryan, and I reside at 4733 Shop Road in Corrington, 37721.
Anything from codes on this?
We don't have anything at this time.
And pursuant to code 6.60.04, can you give us the reasoning for your request for variance?
Yes, sir. This was a property, originally a family, where they put a house and they put a mobile home for their son. The people are deceased. The son moved into the house kind of fell into disarray. I'm interested in changing the property, fixing up the house, and fixing up the mobile home, but whether I sell them, rent them, whatever I end up doing, it will be going to two different parties, and there's not a way to make that mobile home on an acre. I can move the line closer to the house, but the drain field for the house is there. And I know I can do a septic easement, but the reality of it is the boundary is pretty good at 3/4 of an acre over there, and that's a telephone pole directly in that line that they both share. I just feel like that's probably the best spot for it.
So is the drain field for this house towards Beach Top Road or way, or is it behind the house?
It's right where the cursor is, to my understanding. I went to the health department and talked to them. The people who built it put in an application for a drain field, but they never saw that through. It was the old days. I guess they just did it anyways and never had it inspected.
So the drain field's between the house and the mobile home?
Correct. That's what the drawing showed for the preliminary soil map that they did, but no one ever inspected it. I assume that's where it's at, but I really have no idea.
So that explains the one property line between the mobile home and the house. What's going on with the property line behind the house?
Yes, sir. The neighbor to the left of that property, Mr. Kenneth Norton, I went to school with his son, and he's a good man. And the property adjacent to my property above was their family land, and his brother fell into drugs and lost it. And this gives an opportunity for them to reclaim that acre, and his son will build a house there one day. I've already got soil mapping for it. It's a buildable lot. It has an access to Lyford Road. It already has an easement. So again, it seems like a good use for that property to stay in their family.
So the bottom line is you want to subdivide this one lot into 3 lots?
Correct.
Correct. And,
Mr. Chairman,
and the result would be that none of them are compliant?
I'm sorry.
Or maybe one of them would. The 1 acre lot would be compliant?
Only tract 1 would be non-conforming. Did you say that lot 3 will go to the Nortons?
Yes.
So tract 3 will go to that part, will be,
But they will be separate.
They'll
so
be
he can build
separate,
a
but it'll
home
go.
on it.
Okay.
But I've already got the soil mapping and everything.
okay.
So lot 1 would be the only one that's non-conforming?
Yes, sir. And again, if there was a way to do it, I'll probably keep that lot as rental property. I'd love to have it on an acre, but with the driveway as it stands now, there's not really a mathematical way to make it without, I mean, even if you went all the way to the house, I don't believe it would be an acre. It's, at this point, 3/4 of an acre.
What's the sewer situation on tract 1? Or do they have their own separate sewer systems?
Yes,
And a shared
they're-
drain field?
No, their drain field is closer to the driveway, beach top.
So they've all got separate systems?
Yes,
No issues there?
and I've already had my soil scientist out there. It's all really good soil. I have the original soil map. It's good soil. There's plenty of room for reserves. I think the telephone pole seems like a really good place. If you all prefer, I can move it closer to the house, but it seems like a reasonable place to divide the property.
I've got a pin on my property I've yet to find, so a telephone pole would be a little bit more obvious. I agree with you on
Yes,
that.
sir.
Question for Steve. Will this, when the UDO is approved, will this,
Yes, this area would go to rural residential, which would have a 1/2 acre minimum lot size.
thank you.
I appreciate your optimism. Any further discussion? No. Whose is this?
That's me.
Ashley? Ashley, you?
No.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Graves. I'm sorry.
I would make a motion that we approve the waiver of lot intensity from 1 acre per dwelling to 1 acre to 1 acre per 0.75 acres on that first tract there.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. I just want to add that because of the location of the drain field is the reason why we can't make lot 1 conforming. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thank you.
4C.
4C is a request of Sean LeBron for waiver of lot intensity from 1 acre per dwelling to 0.5 acres per dwelling for proposed lot 1. The property is located at 6909 Weaver Road, parcel ID 078132. Property is zoned agricultural in the 6th Commission District.
Is the applicant, oh, there you are. Is there any opposition to this? Any statement from codes?
Yes, this is one we've talked about at a couple of meetings, 4 months ago, and then at our pre-agenda lunch. This is the one, there was a plat recorded showing the parcel to be 2.17 acres in size. Our office issued a permit for a second dwelling on the parcel. When the new owner here bought it, a deed never got recorded transferring the property, so in actuality, there's only 1.8 acres, I believe. I believe there's only, yeah. 1.7. 1.7 acres of property with 2 homes, 2 existing homes, so my office permitted the second dwelling on a recorded plat, but the previous owner never followed through with recording a deed to transfer the property. So, it's a first that I've seen, so.
Thank you for that. If you could, please state your name and address for the record.
Sean LeBaron, 310 Dusty Lane, Maryville, Tennessee.
And is there anything more than what Steve told to give reason for this request?
Well, last time I was here, I think we all agreed there was an easy route to go. So we went back to one of the parties that was previously involved in this because the other party had died. That's why I ended up with the property. It seemed like it was going to work. He said yes, so we drew up all the paperwork, and then discussions went downhill. He wasn't willing to go in and have it notarized, and eventually stopped returning the phone calls.
So you can't get the property that was originally on the plat?
Correct.
Deeded to you?
Correct. So at this point, all I'm trying to do is to refinance the properties because I was able to refinance the front property, but when I went to refinance the back property, that's when they found this initial thing, and that's what started the whole thing about 8 months ago. So it seemed like there was an easy route, but as he said, this is the first time he's seen that. That's usually what I run into.
Well, in the zoning code, we recognize irregular, narrow, shallow, steep, or other exceptional physical conditions. This, I guess, technically isn't a physical condition, but it's certainly a condition not of your own making. So whose is this? Is this John's? Is this yours?
I had the same question he did, since we've gone over this several times in pre-planning, and we've been with you once. Was there anything you wanted to add? But I think, we can cut to the chase. You've certainly experienced some hardship and could potentially experience more hardship if it's not approved, and I don't think any of us want you to go through that, or at least I don't. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the waiver of the lot intensity from 1 acre to 0.5 acres as proposed on Lot 1.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. I did have a question for Steve. When the UDO passes, would this be conforming?
Yes, the half-acre lot size would be the minimum in this, on this parcel when the UDO passes.
Thank you. And I would also add that I am always hesitant to say that engineering made a mistake or they weren't right. But in this case, they were just a little weak on being right. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? You have your
Thank you, sir.
variance.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, that one we talked about already. Got to do E.
For E is a request of Kenneth Wires for waiver of periphery boundary from 15 feet to 9 feet. Property is located at 331 Granville Connor Road, parcel ID 056EB01003. Property is zoned PR in the 7th Commission District.
If you, no, there's no opposition. We have anything from codes on this?
We don't have anything.
Could you give us your name and address for the record, please?
It's Kenneth Wires, 331 Granville Connor Road, Powell, Tennessee, 37849.
And if you could, tell us why you think you need a variance.
So currently, right now, this is a 9-foot, would be a 9-foot standoff, and it's a 15-foot setback. The reason why it's not going to be put in the backyard is because there's going to be a therapy pool put there. So then I'd be right back in here putting another shed in the backyard, and I'd be in that 15-foot setback. The second thing is I've already talked to the neighbor that's actually going to be affected on the south side. And that's actually going to create privacy between my house and his. So it is a go from him. So there's no neighborly issues. So again, 15 foot to 9 foot is what I'm looking to do.
So well, maybe you mentioned it, but could you walk us through why you can't put it in the back of the house where you have
Well, because
a lot of room?
there's going to be a therapy pool and a pool house back there. So it's going to take up, if you look at the 15-foot all the way around the property, and I think there's one that's is it 20 foot?
Yeah, the front yard setback along the north side is 20 feet.
Correct. So when you're looking at a pool deck and a pool house, right? You put a shed back there, I'm still going to be within that variance or that setback. And if you look at the northwest side, there's already a portable shed within that 15-foot setback.
Well, I have to say, I am not compelled by an argument that other people have violated the ordinances, but, so what your neighbor did really doesn't impact this. It's hard for us, at least it's hard for me to justify this request on the assumption that there's going to be something else built that makes it necessary, because right now, we're looking at a piece of property where there's lots of room to put that shed that doesn't violate the code. But you're saying you've got plans, but we haven't seen them. It would be helpful if we knew everything you were planning to build so that we could justify
Well, yeah.
this is really the only place it can go.
Completely understand that, right? But as the money goes is how I'm building, right? So that's why I'm putting the shed first to clean everything out of the garage and then start with the backyard. So again, it's going as the money goes.
Well, I wasn't asking that you build the pool before you ask for the variance. I was just suggesting perhaps you could show us a drawing that shows where the pool and the pool house.
I can provide that at a later date, yeah.
Whose is this? Sherry. I'll let you do whatever you feel.
You said there was going to be a therapy pool,
Yes,
specific therapy for,
for me.
okay.
So I'm a retired Army officer, right? 100% VA. So I will be putting a therapy pool back there for my back. So therefore, I don't have to go through surgery.
Would you be willing to come back and show us those plans?
I can come up with those plans, yeah?
I think that would be helpful if we were able to visualize exactly what you're planning on to justify. Because right now, we have a very strict criteria on how we can grant variances.
Okay, no, I got you. I was just looking at the other one, I figured, since y'all did the portable shed one up there, I mean, that's why I was looking at putting one there. And
I can't guarantee you we did the portable shed one up there.
Well, if it's on a plat, I figured it would be official.
Not necessarily.
Gotcha.
I honestly don't know. That would have to be something that the codes for engineering could investigate for us if we asked. But I would like to see some plans, because would you be willing to come back in 30 days and show us that?
I can do that.
Okay, so I would make a motion that we defer this for 30 days.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. I believe that concludes our business today. I'm sorry? Who? Oh. Yeah, this is normally when we ask for public forum comments, but since there's no public present, we won't have none. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion. Seconded.
Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.